Richard Branson's told me it's wonderful that Joe Biden wants to double the federal minimum wage. Branson's Virgin Orbit also made history this week after air launching a rocket from under the wing of a 747. By the way, a 747 that used to fly with Virgin Atlantic, one of his own planes that they rebranded. Sir Richard told me it's a new era, both in space and in politics.
I think that the world went backwards somewhat the last four years. I was at the Paris climate talks, campaigning to, with the B team and with the elders to try to get that contract signed. And the last thing we thought was that of all the countries in the world, America would pull out of the push to try to make sure that the world went in the right direction. Wonderful that the very first thing that the Biden administration did was to re-sign to it. And wonderful to see him suggesting a doubling of money for minimum wages. A lot of things done in the pledge to get 100 million vaccinations over the next 3 months. It's going to be hard, but that is the one thing that can transform a lot of our businesses and a lot of other people's businesses that are suffering.
Virgin Orbit, I mean, the pictures are stunning. The thing is a great idea. You must be very pleased. But I do wonder, will it be a commercial success?
Well, I don't think I'm as pleased as my 2-year-old grandchild, who couldn't stop saying "Papa on the moon, Papa on the moon," and obviously not quite the moon, but the world actually does need an air launch way of getting satellites into space. A way that it can happen, like 24 hours, 48 hours notice, you can put them up. First of all, there are thousands of low Earth orbit satellites in space, and every 5 years they drop out. And when they drop out, there's a gap, and generally it takes about 6 months, to book in on a rocket to go up to replace that gap. We will be able to do it in 24, 48 hours. We could even do a couple of missions a day.
Does it fit in with Virgin Galactic? I mean, I hesitate just because it's all about space, therefore it must all fit together. Is there a synergy between the two?
I don't think there's a big synergy between the two, and that's why we split the two companies into two separate companies before we took Virgin Galactic public. One is taking people to space, the other one is basically taking satellites to space. The one that's taking satellites to space has also caught the eye of Virgin Orbit, the eye of the US Air Force, the British Air Force, the Canadian Air Force, the French Air Force, basically allied air forces, because this is the only way that if satellites get knocked out by a foreign power, that they can get them replaced really quickly. So I think that we can also work with friendly governments to try to stockpile rockets and satellites and be able to put them up anywhere in the world should any get lost.
I was very sad to hear of the passing of your mother, Richard, who I'd met on, I remember that memorable flight down in the Keys, which we were all on. My condolences, first of all, to a great woman, but also it is a reminder that although the vaccine's here, we're not out of this yet, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, Mum is one of hundreds of thousands of people and hundreds of thousands of families who, I'm afraid lost somebody through this. She lived to the grand age of 96. So, still happy, still partying, still smiling. But we're not going to be out of this until all vulnerable people are vaccinated. And I think, 3 months for now, if governments do their job right, and I think, they will in America, in Britain, most vulnerable people should be vaccinated. I would just say, though, having just been on a call about it, we shouldn't forget about the poorer countries like Africa and others. They're not getting almost any vaccines. B, it's in our interest that they get vaccinated as well. Otherwise, there is a danger we'll get new strains of vaccines, new strains of the virus coming into America and coming into Europe. So governments have got to, and the vaccine companies have got to make sure there's a fair distribution of vaccines.